sail is to explore an environment. A brief stay in Vigo to clean up and take on stores, and to sea again, bound for the Canaries. Sir Thomas Lipton gave chase to a French Tunnyman, an old gaff-rigged fishing boat, and was surprised to find her slipping along at 7 knots. But then came the gales.
The wind increased to force 7, blowing force 8 squalls. It built up mountainous seas behind us. Lipton surfed along the crests in an alarming manner before sinking into the deep troughs. Three days out of Vigo, we passed the first 1,000-mile mark, and the warmer water made the occasional soaking easier to bear. Then the main halyard came adrift while changing sails and had to be retrieved. Our trials were not yet over.
But quiet weather followed, and soon they sighted land. The volcanic island of Salvadem Grande, with the harbour of Santa Cruz de Tenerife just beyond. The yacht was now 11 days out from England, and as a member of her crew said,
basking in the sunshine, it was not unpleasant to hear of the freezing weather which was setting in on the UK.
Here too a first taste of Lipton hospitality.
Our visit to Tenerife is best remembered by the crew for the hospitality of Pedro Duque. Following a visit to the Maritime College, we were treated to a meal which we will all remember. Pedro took us all to a Spanish restaurant where, after a superb hors d'oeuvre, in-rolled the biggest beefsteaks I've ever laid eyes on. Pedro presented us with a plaque to commemorate Sir Thomas Lipton's visit, and a Lipton House burgee which we flew continuously for the remainder of the trip. The memory of this magnificent nosh was to sustain us as we puzzled our brains some 17 days later at sea to imagine variations on our basic diet of tinned corned beef and rice.
The next leg was the longest, 2,800 miles across the Atlantic to Barbados. Sir Thomas Lipton, like all the OYC cruise boats, can accommodate a crew of 12. This number allows scope for authority and a sense of command for those in charge of watches. Artificial discipline is kept to a minimum, for the sea and self-contained communities impose their own rules which are obviously necessary and just. The Ocean Youth Club believes in using the sea as a medium whereby young people can develop for themselves their sense of responsibility and their latent spirit of adventure. Landfall, Barbados, 17.5 days after clearing Tenerife and 4,360 miles from the Hamble River. An Ocean Youth Club member who had only sailed weekends before this trip was on the helm when land was sighted.
At about 3 in the morning, we saw a flashing light and finished off the gin in a highly jubilant mood. Rounding Harrison Point, we made good speed to Bridgetown, where, goggle-eyed, we took in the waving palm trees, the white sands and the turquoise sea. There were old-fashioned sailing ships, cruise liners and imposing hotels. We anchored opposite the yacht club and during the next 6 days set out to see the island.
And during the weeks that followed, Sir Thomas Lipton sailed the Caribbean and found a Lipton welcome in every port. In Trinidad, the host was Paddy Fitzwilliam, enthusiastically backed up by other less official supporters of the firm. A great start to a cruise round the islands in the sun. A cruise during which Sir Thomas Lipton's crew saw all the wonders of the Caribbean, wonders that draw visitors from the world over. fair winds and fine weather. Grenada, St. Lucia, Dominica, St. Kitts are now astern. Ahead, Jamaica, and another Lipton welcome by Charlie Johnston. The date was February the 24th. Could anyone think of a better way of spending an English winter?
The ship had to be slipped for repairs.
And while she was slipped, her crew worked to prepare her for the return trip to England. The Ocean Youth Club expects its members to help fit out and maintain the boats, so this task was nothing unusual for Lipton's crew. On the 22nd of April 1970, Sir Thomas Lipton was ready for sea. Ready for the 3,000 miles of Atlantic that lay between Bermuda and the Hamble River. A tougher way of seafaring than is normal for these days, but Ocean Youth Club members prefer it that way. From the ranks of today's youth, tomorrow's leaders must emerge. The professional men, the industrialists, the technologists, the craftsmen and statesmen. And where better for them to learn the qualities of character, decision, teamwork and discipline necessary for these responsibilities than at the hand of that unremitting taskmaster, the sea.